Hey, this is Stephen Galindo, and this is a little bit of sacred wisdom. The thing I was thinking about, I was watching a little bit of television and reading some headlines on the internet, and I was watching all of these riots and all this burning and looting taking place, and some of the protesters who were trying to protest peacefully, and different police officers around the world that are trying to contain the mob before they destroy their cities. And it was interesting to me because I was speaking this Sunday on love, on how God is love and God wants us to love. It's all found there in 1 John chapter 4. And the thought that came to my mind is that if we loved one another the way that we're expected to love one another, none of this would be going on. We wouldn't be indiscriminately killing people and being racist toward one another and mistreating each other if people love the way they're supposed to love. I believe that love is the answer and the cure to many of the problems that people have in this world. But because they don't know how to love, or they choose not to love, or maybe they've built up some sort of barrier wall so they can't receive love, then they continue operating in pain. They operate in anger, they operate in hate, they operate in fear because they've walled out love. In the Bible, in the New Testament, which was written in Greek, there are different words that are used to talk about different kinds of love. Like, for instance, the Greeks had one word for the kind of love you have for friends, and another word that you have for family members, and another love that you have for someone that you would be married to. And the type of love that's talked about most often is the fourth kind of love. In the Greek, it's called agape, but we call it unconditional love. It's love no matter what, no strings attached. I just choose to love you. It doesn't matter what you say, it doesn't matter what you do, I choose to love you. It doesn't mean I'm always going to agree with you. It doesn't mean that I'm always going to stand firm and believe, that what you're doing is the right thing. I will challenge what you do and say, and I will let you know when I disagree and why I disagree, but I will always love you, and I'll always want the best for you. That's the kind of love that God has for us and the kind of love He wants us to have for Him. It's also the kind of love that He wants us to have for one another when He says, love God with all your heart, soul, strength, and mind, and love one another like you love yourself. He's talking about agape love, not conditional love, not love that's based on certain conditions being met, like saying, I love you as long as you, and then fill in the blank. He's talking about a love that says, no matter what you do, no matter what you say, I'll always love you, I'll always care about you, I'll always want the best for you. It doesn't mean I'm always going to support you. It doesn't mean that agree with everything you do and say, but it means that I love you and I care about you, and I want the very best for you. I'm rooting for you to succeed and to win. And that's the kind of love that we need to be showing to one another. That's not easy. It's a very tall order. It's a very high expectation to have on anybody to ask them to love that way. But it's possible because there's a lot of parents that love their kids that way. And that's the way that He wants us to love one another, because that's the way the Father has chosen to love you and to love me. Unconditional, no strings attached. I love you no matter what. It's kind of scary. It's pretty bold. It's way out there, but it's what's expected. And I'm going to give you a little hint. In your own strength and power, it's almost impossible to love somebody that way. You really need God's love in your heart in order to love people that way. And also, it's easy to love grandchildren, it's easy to love children, but it's a lot harder to express that kind of same love to your enemies, which is what Jesus meant when He said, love your enemies. It's a tall order. We need His love in us, flowing in us, and flowing through us to get it done. And that's the reason why we don't do it so well. And that's the reason why mankind is in the situation that he's in right now. Because instead of love, we choose to hate. Instead of love, we choose to curse. Instead of love, we choose to get angry and to operate out of wrath or jealousy or envy or whatever the case might be. And instead of having love there, we put something else there that doesn't work. Anyway, that was just a little sacred wisdom that I wanted to share with you, and I hope it blesses your heart. Like I said, if you want to read any of my books, go to Stephen Galindo Books on Amazon.com. Stephen is spelled with a V, S-T-E-V-E-N. Galindo is G-A-L-I-N-D-O. You can see all 30 of them there. And I'm glad that these messages are blessing you. God bless you.